Mr. President, Minister, distinguished guests, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to introduce this project to you. I will try to do it within 10 minutes, but I thought I would get 30 minutes, but therefore I have decided to take some of my slides out of the presentation. I used to be a teacher at the University of Iceland for more than 7 years in the past, so I'm going to teach you a little bit. It's very important for you, especially here, far away from the Arctic, to understand what we are talking about. This is because I am going to show you a new harbor project, and you have to understand why this is real opportunity. So first, I would like to show you this picture. You have seen it partly earlier today, but around the North Pole, we have currents rotating the ice mass floating on top of the seas. And then we have warm, dry winds blowing from China over Mongolia, Siberia into this huge area. So that means that the ice, which is indeed melting, will rotate and at the same time go towards Canada and North Greenland. On the map on the right side, you can see black dots. Those dots means potential for bigger ice blocks coming into the ocean. Therefore, it's very important to understand the different types of ice we have in the area. We have thin ice we can cross with a vessel, and then we have icebergs, almost like a skyscraper. Those are dangerous, and all of us, we know about the Titanic disaster last century. That was southerly from Greenland. Therefore, you should take notice to this chart here. You can see the red-colored area is the 1-year-old ice. That means that is the area which is normally freezing, but late summer, this area is almost without ice. Therefore, the ice, which is not melting totally, due to the rotation in the pole area and due to the wind, this is then coming towards the coast of Canada and Greenland as mentioned. But if you take a look at the lower chart, you can see that the area of the 1-year-old ice is getting bigger and bigger. And the older ice is getting less and less. This means that in 30 to 40 years from now, sea ice older than 1 year will be very rare in the Arctic. And that is, of course, the main opportunity in this northern sea route business and even the central sea route business. Therefore, if you take a look at the lower picture, this picture was taken from the bridge of the icebreaker from China, Snow Dragon, which was visiting Iceland in the year of 2012. This was the situation along the northern sea route at that time, and the guy which took this picture, he said to me, this was the most ice we saw on the way to Iceland. The vessel in the front of this convoy is the icebreaker. So we could even raise the question, why is icebreaker needed in this kind of situation? Although resources in the area, they are partly discovered, partly not. We have not a single idea about how much fish we could catch out of this area in future, probably between 5 to 10 million tons more than we do today. This blue and gray color shows the possibly deposits of oil and gas. And then we have the the fish and tourism. If you lay it on each other, you can see the Arctic is full of potential for investments. And on the right picture, you see the Greenland. Greenland is one big block of iron ore, gold, zinc, you name it. You can find everything there. I'm going to show you those studies from Mr. David Bull from the Ocean Shipping Consultants in London. He presented this on the Arctic Shipping Summit in Helsinki 2014. He was bringing together the cost for bringing vessels of two different types along the Suez Canal versus the Northern Sea route, taking in account the cost for the canal fees and the icebreaker fee. And you can see in both cases huge difference. In the one case, we are almost talking about $100 savings per TEU. And this is not the whole story. Indeed, this is in line with the information we got on the Arctic Circle Assembly in October in Reykjavik from the company COSCO. They are operating one vessel along the Northern Sea route, even a small vessel, and their saving per TEU is around $130. And then one part is not taken into account. What about the harbor cost, handling cost? And that is another story, and I will come to that now. So therefore, this project in the northeast of Iceland is indeed very well located, and is indeed at the right side of Iceland. And I would like to tell you also that it is around 10-hour longer sailing distance from the Strait of Gibraltar to Iceland straight up than going into the harbor of Hamburg during regular sailing route in the Irma Canal. So here is the site, northeast of Iceland. This is a map showing the temperature in the wintertime and the summertime and the wind directions. The average temperature in Finnafjord over the year is higher than the average temperature in New York City. And this is, of course, due to the Gulf current. Here you can see an aerial view of the fjord. In the wintertime, you can hardly see snow. This is unique. And this is basically because all the low pressure areas coming to Iceland, they are coming from the southwest, and we have often more rain and snow in the south part of Iceland. So there are many reasons for a port at Finnafjord. This port could serve operations and maintenance of oil and gas drilling explorations and exploitations in Icelandic waters as well as Greenland waters. And also be a very, very important hub for search and rescue in future. And of course, when we will take out hydrocarbons in the area, this will be a very important place to store up gas or crude. And in future, that will not happen within the next years, I think, but in future, and that could come faster than we think, this harbor could even be a trading place or a hub for containers. And don't forget, we have more than 1,300 hectares of flat industrial land at this area. And that is unique for Iceland. This is the largest industrial area you can find in Iceland. And that is not planned yet. But the master plan stands, and we are now doing all kind of research work for the site. But there are several other reasons I would like to mention. We could build up 6.3 kilometers of quay walls in this fjord according to the master plan. And the soil situation there is ideal. Here you see a photo from the southeast towards northeast. You can see the mountain. On top of that, we have a NATO radar station. And you can see the poor vegetation, dry, thin vegetation on top of gravel. We are not talking about clay or wetlands. We are talking about solid gravel banks. So we have been investigating this area carefully. We started 2014 indeed, and we have 2 weather stations now up and running. We have been taking trial pits, and you can see from the material coming up, this is even ideal for mixing concrete. So clean and good material. The depth in Finnafjord is ideal. Even close to the coast, we could go down to 70 meters. And the wave forecast under the most difficult circumstances is very low. So that low that the Maritime Research Institute needed to calculate this 3 times because they thought we are always facing a problem in the calculation. So we are going on with further research work during the next 2 years, and we think that we will be ready for construction in the site in the year of 2020. We stepped into a partnership in the year of 2013 with the company Bremen Ports in Germany. We did that mainly because of very close business connections to Germany, and also because of their knowledge in this harbor business. And you can see here on the lower side, the lower picture, the long terminal in Bremerhaven of the length of 5.2 kilometers. And Bremerhaven is the 2nd largest port in Europe, the 4th largest port, the 2nd largest in Germany and 4th largest in Europe, and far the largest car handling port in Europe. And then we have 2 municipalities with us, and we, as a consultant company, we are assisting this team. So we have signed all kinds of MOUs and cooperation agreements, and we are about to finish a MOU with the government of Iceland now before end of the year, and the government is going to start investigations to bring power into the site, building up a better road and prepare everything for a free trade zone, tax-free zone. So we are thinking about a different model than you are operating here in Singapore, as well as in Germany. We call this BOT, Build, Operate and Transfer. So you can see 3 boxes in this picture. The pink one is the Finnafjord Port Authority. That will be totally owned by the municipalities. And then we have the Finnafjord Port Development Joint Venture. We are already have established that. And that joint venture is indeed preparing everything for the upcoming authority, Port Authority. That means there is an agreement between the Port Authority and the Port Development Company, and we are even bringing the customers to the table. And that means companies coming in, they will of course pay concession fee. Part of that fee will stay in the green box. Part of that will go to the pink box. And that means also that the concessionaire, he will build up his own terminal. He will be owner of the harbor, steel sheets. He will be owner of the super and the superstructure. That means the cranes and everything. Here in Singapore, it's different. The Port of Singapore is the owner of the whole. In Germany, it's the port of Bremerhaven is the owner of the harbor itself and the steel sheet, but the companies operating, they are owner of the cranes. So here we are doing different. This means that we will in future have different owners in the port. This is a huge area. Different operators. We will split the risk of the whole game, and we will have a transparent process through tenders, because the concessionaire, they have to bid, fight for the bid. And we will have an international cooperation, which is indeed how we like to work. And this has to be an international project, otherwise we will have conflicts in the whole game. So in Finnafjord, we could have this following scenario in future. You can see it on those papers I left on the tables. We will have a container terminal on the south, oil terminal in the north, and service for oil industry as well as in the south, and industry there, mining material coming from Greenland, and for processing before it goes to the markets. Thank you.